Hey guys, this is Nod Lammers of Invoked 101. Welcome back, and today I'm going to be doing a video about kind of how to play Invoked in the current format. This is going to be using my Invoked Mekk-Knight version. We're basically going to be doing some test hands and some like combos for the deck, because the deck does have a couple combos. There's not too many, because it really is just like fusion summon Mekk-Knights pass. But yeah, there is a few things that you can do with this deck that are pretty cool. So, and especially if you are trying to get into playing Invoked or Invoked Mekk-Knight, this is a good starting point. So, we're just going to be going over some test hands and single like little combos. So, we'll just start off with the main one card combo you can do. So, Alistair himself is a one card Mekka, if you don't know. Alistair is, so on his own, he searches Invocation, but he also does make Mekka. So if you guys want to see the deck profile for this, I have there will be a link for it either as an iCard up here or down in the description, and then you can see this deck profile with side deck. I'm not going to be showing any of the side deck cards in this, but the main way you make a Mekka out of one Alistair is you go normal summon Alistair and activate his effect, and the effect does have to go through. And that will get you your Invocation, which should be, there we go. So that'll get you your Invocation. And then you'll take Alistair and you'll link him away for Salamangreat Almirage, which is pretty standard Invoke stuff. But then you'll link the Almirage away for the Secure Gardna. Now, Secure Gardna is a light. It points to the side, and it only requires a Cyberse Link monster as material. So, meaning you can, it's really good for that, just turning Almirage into Secure Gardna. So, and the main reason, like I said, we're playing it is because it is a light attribute monster that we can just summon off of Alistair. And then you'll activate Invocation, banishing Secure Gardna, banishing Alistair, and then you will get Mekka. And then, of course, you can Invocation back into the deck and get Alistair back into your hand. Thus, you've lost no card advantage and gained a monster on the field. So it does chew up 2 spots in your extra deck to do this. Granted, we were already playing Almirage because it gets Alistair off the field and can make Purgatrio. So, and the Invoked Mekk-Knight extra deck is a little loose. You know, it has a few slots that are very open for interpretation per se. So you don't have to play. It's not like Shaddoll Invoked where it's a very tight extra deck. You can play this however you want. But yeah, this gets you back your Alistair and gets the Mekka, so you have a monster negate or a 1000 buff up. So, and of course that is still with, in theory now you have 5 cards back in your hand. So there you go. That is the main one card combo for the deck. Of course, you know, at any point, if you had a Mekk-Knight, so like if you have Alistair and a Mekk-Knight, you would normal summon Alistair, get the Invocation. You would go Alistair into Almirage, and then move the Mekka off the screen, and then you would set the Invocation and special the Mekk-Knight here, and then you would simply link the Almirage. This is presuming you're going first. Get that into the other column, so that way you play around the Mekk-Knights, because I always play around Mekk-Knights now, and then flip the Invocation, make Mekka, etc., etc. So that's the main thing. This gives you a second body to do that with, so you get not only a Mekk-Knight, but you also get the thing, and of course, you know, then you get the Alistair back. So there's that. That's the main way that you want to be doing stuff. And if this is Move Man, then you just get Move Man out of the way, and then you keep summoning Mekk-Knights to that same column, and then you really do make that like your last thing, which is very nice. Or I guess you could just make Mekka first. You really don't want to waste that Invocation, but even though, because you won't really be going over 5 summons, I don't think so. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 4th is your Mekka. So once you have Mekka there, they can't Nibiru you, which is really nice. Although I don't think they're really going to Nibiru 2 monsters, real talk. But you know, people do that. That's really the main combos that the deck does. There is a few things you can do, but there's nothing like big blowout about this deck. That's the one thing that like I need to emphasize. This deck doesn't do giant blowout plays. Like, yes, it does make Blackluster Soldier. Yes, it summons Boral Sword. And it can play IP Masquerena. I'm playing IP Masquerena. But it doesn't really do big, long combo strings. It's more or less, this is what I'm working with, break my board, in a way. So we're just going to shuffle up the deck and do some test hands with this, to kind of show what we can do going first, what an average hand looks like. So the issue I've run into with this deck is it seems to like to play, it feels like either playing Mekk-Knights or playing Invoked. That's the first time I've drawn this card ever. So then we get the Invocation, Skullmeister, and an Alistair. So this is one of those hands where it's actually pretty interesting. So you do the Alistair play where you get Mekk-Knight, so we'll just dump everything real quick. Secure Gardna. So we'll put Secure Gardna up there, and we'll set the Invocation because we're going to use it. And then we will special the Blue Sky in defense because we don't want them swinging over it. And then we will fuse using Alistair and Secure Gardna and get the Mekk-Knight. And then you can either hold the book. I would prefer to hold the book because then you can use it as a spell negate. Because there's really no reason you're going to use it on your opponent's turn. Mekk-Knight is honestly the best one to use on your opponent's turn. So the only reason you'd want this is on your turn to go into Purgatrio, like swing, then do Purgatrio with that. So you'd rather hold on to those. Of course, Invocation is going to get you back your Alistair, so you're going to be ending with 3 cards in your hand, along with a 25 defense and a 25 attacker. So that's generally... And then you also have a Skullmeister, which is nice. That's the main thing that this deck does, is like hand traps, because the deck is so open for like extra stuff. But because it is a Ghost Second deck, it really does feel like you are playing to break your opponent's board. Because you could have gotten a search off the Blue Sky if you went second. And there's more stuff, because like Red Moon wants to go second, the Gamma Seal, it wants to go second. It really does just depend on like how your opening hand looks. So like seeing another Blue Sky, that kind of sucks. A Cosmic, that's nice. And 2 called. So of course we're going to basically do the same exact thing, because this is going to get us Meltdown, and that's going to get us Alistair, which is going to get us Mekk-Knight, and then basically summon the Blue Sky, and I guess you're going to want to set 1 called, you're going to hug the other, because then you have a spell negate, and then you're going to set the Cyclone and the other called, because Called is really good, just snipe out stuff, and then Cyclone because back row decks are a pain. So, also field spell decks. This is really good for just sniping field spells. Cyclone is a lot. So, like in theory, I was originally playing Twin Twisters in this deck because it hit more, but I've begun liking Cosmic Cyclone way better in this particular deck because you don't have to discard. This deck doesn't generate a lot of hand advantage, so discarding a card became really difficult. And Cosmic Cyclone being able to just use your life points, which aren't that necessary, to snipe out a card is a lot better. Like, I would much rather pay 1,000 than discard a card in this deck, just because it doesn't. One of the biggest advantage generators is blue, and you don't see him all that often. You're not going to see him every game, you know. So that's the theory behind that. All right, so next up, Desires. Oh man, drawing book left and right. Red, Gam, and Ash. So this is one of those hands where you kind of have to play risky because you don't have Alistair, and that means you have no way to get Red Moon on the board. Yes, you could normal summon the Ash, but you don't want to do that. That's the, like, you don't want to have to resort to that. So here's where like the luck of the draw comes into play. We're going to activate the Desires 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And get the 2. We're going to pray that they didn't Ash us, and we're going to play like they didn't. So check time. There's a Meltdown, Mind Control, 2 Invocations. That's fine. As long as you have 1 Invocation in the deck, you're still golden. But we banished all 3 Skullmeisters. That kind of sucks. Boom. Do we get Alistair, Move Man, and purple? Nope. So this is a very sad hand. So basically you're just going to pass and hope they don't OTK you, but next turn, oh my god, next turn, so you could like Ash them on their turn. Next turn you just Gamma Seal them, and then you set this in whatever column and you pop off with that. Plus you get a draw, which is called die. So but yeah, unfortunate. Usually Yeah, that's kind of the sad part, is if you don't see like Alistair. I guess if you really wanted to force out the Mekk-Knights, you sack the Ash in that scenario and summon the 3 Mekk-Knights. If you wanted to do that, I think that would be a pretty pro play. There's our... Okay, there we go. We got Meltdown, so that's good. And purple, nice. Double purple, that kind of sucks because you only special him once. We're going to activate the Meltdown. Meltdown's going to grab us Alistair. So we do have Pot of Desires, but unlike a lot of decks, you don't want to bust the Pot of Desires first. I know a lot of, like, back when Pot of Desires first came out, it was like the first thing you did. But in this deck, you're going to do Alistair first, because you always want to make sure that you have at least 1 invocation in your deck. So you can basically guarantee that just by doing Alistair stuff first. So you'll do Alistair stuff, and then if there is a particular Mekk-Knight you want, whenever you go, so what I'll do here is I'll do Alistair, Almirage, Secure Gardna, because it doesn't matter. And then we will set the Pot of Desires, because if they hit the Pot of Desires with like a quick play thing that I don't know what they would have that could snipe it on your turn, but if they do happen to snipe the set, basically you don't want it to be invocation, because you want to resolve the invocation. So you're going to set the Pot of Desires, because that one doesn't matter nearly as much. And then you could special the purple, and then if there's a particular Mekk-Knight you want, like say we want Move Man, we can dip the purple out and we can guarantee ourselves the Move Man as well. So like if we don't want to banish Move Man, we can get him. Also, this will set us up to summon a blue under our Secure Gardna. So then you'll get Move Man. Move Man will move, and then you will special the blue. I prefer defense mode going first. So and then we can activate the invocation from our hand, getting rid of Secure Gardna, or you could even link the blue with Secure Gardna. I think that would be the better play here, because we could actually link all 3 of these and make Blackluster Soldier. That would put pressure on the opponent. Let's make Blackluster Soldier. So let's do that. Blackluster Soldier is kind of hard to out because he's unaffected. He can't be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects when he's special summoned using a level 5 or higher monster. And then we can activate the invocation, and we can banish the Secure Gardna because it doesn't matter anymore, and the Alistair. And that will get us Mekk-Knight, of course, under the Blackluster Soldier, which is very good, very nice. You have a negate, an impervious guy, use the invocation, or actually don't use invocation yet, because then you might banish it. We're going to Desires now, which is going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Boom. Got Skullmeister and a Called By. Nice. Very, very nice. And then you'll use invocation to go back to the top. So now we're ending our turn with 4 cards in our hand, one of which is a Called By, one is a Skullmeister, and one is a purple. So actually we'll ditch the purple off of Mekk-Knight if we need to Monster Negate, and set the Called By. You can hug the Called By if you want to. But yeah, so we have a Monster Negate, Graveyard Negate, and a buff up to the Mekk-Knight if we need. And on our standby phase, after we draw, purple will be coming back. So this is a pretty... honestly, not gonna lie, this is a pretty strong board. We also have a Called By, so anything else in their graveyard that we need, I would almost consider hugging on the Called By just to ditch off a Mekk-Knight if you need it. But I think setting it would be also fine, because then that would give you a spell negate and then like a monster negate or a graveyard negate. So it really depends on what you want to do in that situation. But yeah, that's a pretty normal board. But these are all going first. Like I said, this deck is a go second deck, so that's usually what you want to be doing. So then you can swing, because if you can swing, this guy, what he'll do is he'll tack into something and then he'll go to 45, or he'll banish a card. I usually end up using the banish effect, but if they only have 1 monster, you just make him go to 45, because then he becomes almost impossible to deal with. He won't be able to be dealt with in battle unless like they have Avermax or like Borreload or Boral Sword. Like there's so few outs, but because you have Mekk-Knight, you'll be able to negate something and potentially just take whatever thing could have outed this out of the game completely. Yeah, Blackluster Soldier is hard to deal with. Like Mekk-Knight is like way easier to out than the Blackluster Soldier, so that's probably what they would do. So getting those out of the way. Mind Control, that's not good going first. Ash, that's fine. Cyclone, that's fine. called by, do we get an Alistair? We get a book. So this is a pretty bad hand. Basically, what it ends up being is you just set called and Cyclone and pass. That's unfortunate. Had we gone second, would have had Gam, which is a little better, but we don't necessarily want to give that to them yet because we don't have another monster. But I guess what you could do is you could give them the Gam, normal the Ash, mind control the Gam, and then make Alistair the Invoker of Madness, and then set called by and Cyclone, and then like pray. So you could do that. If you want to like big brain with like normal summoning hand traps. And then we'll do one more. Because I know I showed like the main like little combo that it does at the beginning. So book, man, just drawing book constantly. Alistair, this is great. This is actually fantastic. A Mekk-Knight, that's great. A movie Mekk-Knight too. And Invocation. So this is actually fantastic. This is the rare opportunity where Alistair getting hit does not matter. Because we drew the Invocation, like hard drawing Invocation is fine. It's like currently it is not the end of the world, because what happens is people always go to hit the Alistair. They will almost always like hit the Alistair with like an Impermanence or an Ash or an Effect Veiler, just some way to get it to not go off, which is perfectly fine because we have Invocation. Even if they hit him with Gamma, which I have neglected to mention, but even if they hit him with Gamma on normal summon, now you have the Invocation and you can fuse with the Mekk-Knight in your hand, or potentially even the Gamma Seal, which will make one of the strongest invoked fusions out there, which again is another card that can't be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects, and has a 2900 defense, and it'll still let you get your Alistair back because he went to the graveyard off the Gamma. So either way, like if we get interrupted here, we still have a board. The only thing that we wouldn't have is an out to the Gamma. If you had Ash, you could always just Ash the Gamma and then continue your play as normal. But yeah, either way, now you have two Invocations, which will allow you, and then you can set book. So let's go with that. Let's go with the idea that we're going to go Alistair into Almirage right here. Then we will set the book, because book doesn't matter. Special the Mekk-Knight, move the Mekk-Knight, and then we can actually do where we make either Cocytus or we make Mekaba Purgatory. So it really depends on if you want to like link summon here or not. I personally don't think you need to. Almirage is perfectly fine. Like if you want to leave him out to have 3 monsters, you could do that. You could link Almirage with the move man if you want, but because like you need to get the Alistair off the board. That was just something to get him out of the way. So I would honestly, because like this is a rare opportunity and Gamma Seal is not really going to do anything for you. But if you want the negate, you would much rather go like Almirage into Secure Gardener, wherever I put my Secure Gardener, and then Invocation into Mekaba. And then Invocation, of course, will get back the Alistair. Not the Secure Gardener. Secure Gardener is gone forever. You never get him back, but it's fine. Secure Gardener is not. He serves his purpose. But yeah, so there we go. That's kind of how to play Invoked, really. At least going first. Going second, of course, is a break your board type deck. So like, had we gone second, I only put 1 card on top of the deck. We would have had a blue, which is perfect for going second, because you would have specialed this. You would have specialed him first, but then specialed the blue, and then searched the Mekk-Knight, which probably would have been purple, and then you would have put purple in the extra monster zone where you weren't special summoning. Like you would have put Alistair here, put purple movement, whatever, you know. You would have been able to play your column game with your Mekk-Knights. Because all you really need is the 1 search off of blue. You just need to put him in the correct column, and you had 2 Invocations and the book, so like you would have been able to put it wherever you want. Plus you have Gamma Seal, so if they have like a negate thing, you can always gam it and then not worry about it later, because anything in your deck can swing over this except for blue. Blue cannot swing over it because he's only 2000, but it does force them to work around the blue if you put it in defense mode. But if they put this in defense mode, then it forces you to work around it. Anyways, yeah, so that is my Invoked Mekk-Knight tutorial, I guess. My how to play Invoked. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. That's the main reason I wanted to make this, because I did get a request recently about like playing Invoked Mekk-Knight. And if you want to see this with a Invoked tutorial with like Shaddoll Invoked and how to do combos and stuff with that, I'd be happy to do it. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video.